You've been told your whole life that being the smartest person in the room is the ultimate goal. We treat intelligence like a superpower, a golden ticket that's supposed to make life's hurdles vanish. We celebrate the high IQ, the quick wit, and the person who can see through things. But if you're listening to this right now, you know there's a quiet, heavy tax on a high-functioning mind that nobody mentions in the graduation speeches. It's a specific kind of exhaustion, the kind that sleep can't fix because it isn't your body that's tired, it's your soul. Ernest Hemingway once famously noted that happiness in intelligent people is the rarest thing he knew. He wasn't being a pessimist, he was describing a structural flaw in the way a sharp mind interacts with a messy world. When you have a brain that functions like a high-speed engine, you don't just live in the world, you autopsy it. You don't just see a sunset, you see atmospheric scattering and the fleeting nature of time. You don't just have a conversation, you analyze the subtext, the micro-expressions, and the inevitable decay of the relationship. You are likely secretly miserable because your greatest strength has become your most persistent tormentor. Let's look at a case study of this golden cage. Think about someone like Marcus. To everyone else, Marcus is the guy with all the answers. He's the lead architect at his firm, he's financially secure, and his life looks like a masterpiece on paper. But Marcus is drowning. When he sits at a dinner party, he isn't hearing the music or tasting the wine. He's mentally calculating the structural integrity of the ceiling above him. He's noticing the subtle shift in his friend's voice that suggests a hidden resentment. He's wondering if the laughter around him is authentic or just a social performance to mask a deep collective loneliness. Marcus isn't sad in the traditional sense. He is overstimulated and underconnected. He has traded the bliss of ignorance for the burden of perspective. He lives in a high-resolution world where he sees every crack in the paint, every flaw in the logic, and every inevitable point of failure. This brings us to the core problem, the intelligence trap. Psychology suggests that high intelligence often comes with what we call overexcitabilities. Your nervous system is literally more sensitive. You are a radio tuned to a frequency that most people can't even hear. This creates a massive, painful gap between what is and what should be. Because you can imagine a perfectly efficient system, a perfectly logical partner, or a perfectly just society, the messy, irrational reality of human life feels like a personal insult to your senses. You become a second-order thinker. Most people have a problem and feel bad. You have a problem, and then you think about why you're thinking about the problem. You analyze your own sadness until it becomes a laboratory specimen rather than a feeling you can just experience and let go of. You've become a spectator of your own life rather than a participant in it. The theory behind this misery is rooted in the Dunning-Kruger reverse. While less informed people enjoy a false sense of confidence and simplicity, the intelligent person is plagued by the Socratic burden. The more you know, the more you realize the vastness of your ignorance. To a simple person, the world is small, manageable, and certain. To you, the world is an infinite ocean of uncertainty. You suffer from existential vertigo. You see the big picture, the vastness of time, the inevitability of death, the fragility of human achievement. When you zoom out that far, the small picture, the joy of a warm cup of coffee or a joke with a neighbor, starts to look insignificant. You've optimized yourself for the cosmic scale, but humans are biologically designed to live in the small scale. Let's talk about the deep root of this, because it isn't actually your brain that's the problem. It's a philosophical disconnect. You've been rewarded your whole life for using your head to solve things. When a car breaks, you fix it with logic. When a code fails, you fix it with logic. So when life feels empty or your heart feels heavy, your first instinct is to think harder. But here's the hard truth. Life is not a math problem. You're trying to use a hammer to perform heart surgery. You're trying to solve an emotional and spiritual existence with a purely cognitive toolkit. You have moved out of your body and into a 10 by 10 room in your skull, wondering why you feel claustrophobic. Now, we need to address what we are doing wrong, the traps we fall into that keep us miserable. First, stop trying to think your way out of unhappiness. Analyzing your misery only gives it more data to feed on. Second, do not isolate yourself under the guise that nobody understands. While it's true that high intelligence can be isolating, total withdrawal is just fuel for rumination. When you're alone, your mind has no external reality to check against, so it starts creating monsters. Third, do not use cynicism as a substitute for intelligence. Many smart people confuse being miserable with being realistic. They think that if they are happy, they aren't paying attention. This is a lie. Cynicism is just a lazy way of being right without ever having to take a risk. And finally, stop waiting for certainty before you act. Intelligent people often wait until they have 100% of the information, but in this life, 70% is usually enough. The remaining 30% of thinking is usually just a sophisticated form of procrastination. So, what is the solution? How do we live with a mind that won't shut up? The way out isn't to become less smart, it's to become more wise. Intelligence is the ability to process information. Wisdom is the ability to know when the information doesn't matter. You have to learn to lower the resolution on purpose. Practice what I call tactical ignorance. Not every conversation needs to be deconstructed. Not every social slight needs a deep dive investigation. You have to consciously move from your head back into your body. When the analysis loop starts spinning, you need to engage in physical reality. Lift something heavy, garden, cook, or build something with your hands. These activities force the brain to stop simulating and start experiencing. Apply the "so what" filter to your existential dread. Yes, the sun will eventually die. So what? I still have to enjoy this meal right now. Yes, people are often hypocritical. So what? I can still choose to be kind. Bringing your focus back to the immediate physical present is the only cure for existential vertigo. Find your tribe of 5, the few people who speak your frequency so you don't feel like an alien every time you open your mouth. You don't need the whole world to get you. You just need a small circle where your fast mind is a feature, not a bug. Your brain is a high-performance vehicle. If you drive a Formula One car on a gravel road, it's going to break, and it's going to be a miserable ride. You've been trying to drive your high-speed mind through the gravel of mundane life without adjusting the suspension. You aren't miserable because you're smart. You're miserable because you haven't learned how to turn the smart off. Intelligence is a tool, not an identity. It's a compass, not the destination. Use it when you need to navigate a complex problem, but have the wisdom to put it away when it's time to love, to play, and to simply exist. The world needs your brilliance. It needs your patterns, your insights, and your ability to see what others miss. But more than that, the world needs you to be here. Don't let your big brain rob you of your small life, because at the end of the day, the stars don't care how much you know about them. They only care that you were there to see them shine. Stop thinking, start being. This is your life. Don't analyze it until it's gone.